During the 2026 FIFA World Cup, football dominated public discussion in South Korea. Although the national team entered the tournament with what many considered the strongest squad in its history, it finished with one win, two losses, and an early group stage exit. Fans, former players, and commentators largely agreed that the problem was not a lack of talent, but a lack of leadership. At the same time, in Formula One, Mercedes-AMG Petronas Formula One team was rebuilding around an 18-year-old rookie under the leadership of team principal Toto Wolff, while remaining one of the sport's strongest organizations. These two cases raise an interesting question. What qualities enable a leader to maximize elite talent? By comparing Hong Myung-bo's leadership of Korean national football team with Toto Wolff's management of Mercedes, this essay argues that successful Formula One team principals need four essential qualities: strategic vision, effective people management, accountability, and long-term organizational thinking. The first quality of an outstanding Formula One team principal is strategic vision. In Formula One, winning depends not only having fast drivers, but also building a system that allows engineers, strategists, mechanics, and drivers to work toward the same objective. The most consistent criticism of Hong's tenure was the absence of such a system. Park Ji-sung, one of South Korea's greatest players, observed after the group stage third match that all three matches looked essentially the same. There was no attacking structure in the front of the goal. Lee Chun-woo expressed the same frustration more bluntly, describing Korea's approach as "please do something" football, where the team simply relied on a few star players to produce moments of brilliance. This criticism becomes even more striking when considering the talent Hong had available. South Korea entered the tournament with Kim Min-jae, one of the world's top defenders, Lee Kang-in, a Champions League winner, and Son Heung-min, one of the Premier League's most accomplished forwards. Yet despite this extraordinary squad, the team showed little tactical identity and rarely adapted when matches became difficult. Wolf demonstrates the opposite approach. Rather than relying on individual stars, he has consistently built an organization that succeeds through preparation and culture. Before Formula One's hybrid era began in 2014, Wolf had already positioned Mercedes to take advantage of the coming regulation changes. The result was eight consecutive Constructors' Championship and a level of sustained dominance that later became the subject of a Harvard Business School case study. Even after Lewis Hamilton's departure, Mercedes continued to trust the organizational culture Wolff had built rather than rely on a single superstar driver. As Wolff explains, it's all about the right mindset. We always stick with the truth, empower each other, and have a no blame culture. To be successful as an organization, you must live and breathe these values every single day, rather than just writing them on a chart on the wall. This philosophy illustrates that the strongest Formula One teams are built on systems rather than individuals. Strategic planning alone, however, is not enough. A Formula One team principal must also manage elite personalities and maintain unity within the organization. Throughout Holmes' tenure, there were constant rumors of tension between him and Son Heung-min, the team's captain and biggest star. In the crucial match against South Africa, Hong made the surprising decision to leave Son out of the starting lineup without providing a clear explanation. Without their most dangerous attacker, Korea struggled to create chances, and the decision quickly became one of the tournament's most criticized tactical choices. More importantly, the lack of communication left players and supporters confused about the coach's intentions. Wolf faced an equally difficult challenge. Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg were among Formula One's fiercest teammates, and their rivalry frequently threatened the sustainability of Mercedes. Rather than allowing individual egos to dominate the team, Wolf established clear expectations for everyone in the organization. As he explains, I make no difference between the driver and every other employee in the company. And if you're able to channel that in the right way, you have a superstar team rather than a team of superstars. By treating every member of the organization according to the same standards, Wolf reduced uncertainty and ensured that even the team's biggest stars remained accountable to the larger mission. For a Formula One team principal, managing people can be just as important as managing race strategy. Leadership also requires accountability. In Formula One, mistakes are inevitable, but the way a leader responds to failure often determines whether the organization improves or declines. After Korea's disappointing lose to South Africa, Hong admitted that he did not know why the team had performed so poorly. Commentator Park Moon-sung criticized this response, arguing that Hong's statement, "I don't know what went wrong, I'll take responsibility," sounded less like genuine accountability than reluctant acceptance of blame. The situation worsened during Hong's resignation press conference, where he read a prepared statement, declined to answer questions, and immediately left. Although he accepted formal responsibility, many supporters felt he never explained what had actually gone wrong. Wolf takes a different approach. He had repeatedly argued that honesty is essential for organizational success, stating, "It makes no sense to mislead anybody, and it makes no sense to mislead yourself." At Mercedes, accountability is not about finding someone to blame, but about identifying problems and solving them. Technical director James Allison summarized this philosophy by saying, "Pointing a finger at people and saying they're to blame for something is verboten in our world." Walt himself puts it even more simply: "You mustn't blame the person, you blame the problem." This mindset encourages engineers and drivers to acknowledge mistakes openly rather than hide them, allowing the team to learn more quickly. In a sport where races can be decided by fractions of a second, such as environment provides a significant competitive advantage. Finally, Formula One team principals must think beyond immediate results and build organizations capable of sustained success. Although long-term player development depends on the entire Korean football system rather on a single national team coach, Hong reliance on such a small group of experienced players reflected a broader lack of long-term planning. Following Korea's elimination, Park Ji-sung warned that we may have already seen this result coming from years ago, and argued that creating a proper football system would require at least 10 years or more. His comments struggled that the country's problems extended far beyond one disappointing tournament. Long-term planning is one of Wolff's greatest strengths. He has often emphasized that his responsibility is not simply to win the next race, but to ensure Mercedes remains competitive long after today's drivers and engineers have moved on. This perspective explains why Mercedes invests heavily in young talent, technical development, and organizational culture. Rather than focusing solely on immediate victories, Wolff built systems that can survive leadership changes, driver transfers, and evolving technical regulations. This ability to think beyond the present is perhaps the defining quality of an exceptional Formula One team principal. The comparison between Hong Myung-bo and Toto Wolff demonstrates that leadership is measured not the talent available, but by what a leader enables the talent to achieve. Formula One team principals must provide strategic vision, manage elite personalities, accept responsibility for failure, and build organizations that remain successful over the long term. Cars and football tactics may differ, but the principles of effective leadership remain remarkably similar. In both sports, great leaders do not simply assemble talented individuals because they create environments in which those individuals can constantly succeed together.